Hi guys, welcome to another edition of ThinkoutCloud, where you find anything and everything about the cloud. I'm your host, Ace Yuto. For today, we'll be talking about Salesforce University and the benefits that it can bring to our administrators, developers, and the like, and how it can help us achieve our goals in having an effective customer relations management program. Our special guest for today is Mr. Brian Dizon, Sales Director for IPC Business Solutions Group.
Well, thanks for having me, Ace. I'm very excited to be talking about Salesforce University and the benefits it can have for our customers.
And of course, please welcome my beautiful co-host, Ms. Nika Calixter.
Very beautiful.
Very beautiful.
Thank you, guys. Hi, everyone. Good morning. I'm sitting in today for the awesome Mr. Nino Valmonte. I'm really excited to be a part of ThinkoutCloud for today.
We're also glad that you're here with us. So to begin, Brian, can you briefly discuss what Salesforce University is?
Okay, awesome. So, as I mentioned, thank you very much for having me. I'm here to talk about Salesforce University 101. Right, so what is Salesforce University? Well, we all know when an organization makes an investment in Salesforce, it doesn't just make an investment in the financial investment side of it.
Right.
They also have to invest in time and resources and strategy. So Salesforce University was built to help organizations maximize their use of Salesforce. So there's different users in Salesforce. Right? You have your end users, people that input the data, your sales team, operations. You have people that do the development on top of it. You have your architects. You also have your admins. Salesforce University will help you have the skills to maximize all of these functionalities.
Right.
Yes. And since it's a university platform, Salesforce University has provided different training options. The one I'm going to be talking to at length in our focus point will be the hands-on instruction. IPC is a Salesforce University partner.
Okay.
Actually, we're only two in the Asia Pacific region. And we offer public training courses. We have an instructor, his name is Chase Absuna, who you'll be meeting also later. He provides his classroom training in our training facilities here in RCBC. It's hands-on, and you also have your own orgs to help you out with the training facility. But aside from that, Salesforce University also offers visual training, self-led courses, and private workshops. So, now that we know what Salesforce University is, what is in it? So, in Salesforce, we know that there's different clouds, right? So, depending on what your company has invested, you're probably invested in one or more clouds. So, you have the Sales Cloud, you have the Service Cloud, Marketing Cloud, and there are training courses and classes designed per each cloud. And as mentioned earlier, there's different roles. So, there are different types of training courses per the role that you have. My focus point, as I mentioned earlier, would be on the admins and developers. These are actually the courses that Chase is certified to train in, and this is what we offer in our public classroom training. So, our public classroom training, we have our training facility here, right? We have seats for around 20 users, but I would think that the efficient size of the class would be around 12 trainees at a time. So it doesn't really, yeah. So Chase isn't spread too thin, right?
Right.
Here I'm flashing on the board our training schedules for the next 5 months. Actually, we have trainings all the way scheduled to February of next year, but these are the ones that are going to be available in the next 5 months. If you notice, there's more on ADM 201. Actually, when we started with Salesforce University, we noticed and experienced that ADM 201 is the more popular type of training that we have here in the Philippines. So these are the courses. Please take note so that you can sign up, and please reach us via the website that is broadcasted. So let's deep dive into the courses. ADM 201. So this is mainly for administrators. Right? So when in your organization, one of the strategies that you have to have in your Salesforce investment is to have an admin. It is essential that you have an admin within your organization to help you out with probably I would like to call it your first level support with your Salesforce solution. What would the admin or the trainees learn inside the courses of ADM? The first is customize your application, including page layouts, fields, tabs, and business processes. So the training here will be able to learn how to set up your access. Right. So when I say access, if you're different roles would have different accesses. Right. Different individuals would be able to see different data. Right. And that kind of ties up into the second point with regards to security. Right. So if you don't need to see it, you won't have it. Right.
So but this is more of the back-end type of training where all the nitty-gritty of setting up the company and making sure that all the profiles of the users are actually checked precisely and their type of uses are actually configured properly.
That is correct, Ace. And as I mentioned, it is a very clear security feature. But at the same time, what we have experienced is that it also helps in terms of productivity.
Right.
Right. So you've seen Salesforce if you have it on your system. Sometimes there's a lot of fields right in front of you. Right. Here, the admin would be able to set up your page so that it only has the fields that you need to use. Right. With that, you don't have to go through irrelevant fields.
Right.
And thus, your inputting of the data becomes much easier.
Okay. So they can simplify. They can narrow down the features that you want. They can turn on and off features.
Yes. The turn on and off is the term really is disable. Yes, a technical term. You disable the features. Correct.
Good point.
Yes. Okay. So, well, the second point here, for me to move on, is you can create a secure Salesforce environment. So, as I mentioned, you have different accesses.
Right.
But to add on top of that, the admin in this course will learn to use your company's, your organization's login procedures. So if there's a way that you have your login process, it can also mirror that into the Salesforce environment.
Typically, for every company, how many admins should be part of the training?
I would say at least one, right? If there's a heavy workload, depending on the number of users that you will have, I would say around two for every, let's say one for every 50 to 100 users. Right.
And is there a specific skill set that those people will undergo the training need? At least basics in computer programming or computer fundamentals?
Well, the platform is fairly simple. I would like to think the people that you should put on admin were the people that are process-oriented. It's very strong in process and very meticulous, so to speak.
So they don't have to be the geeky.
Not necessarily. Just the people that can go into the nitty-gritty. And
it's a good point.
Yes. Yes, and we'll do things right away because, of course, if you have an issue with your system, they have the time and the bandwidth to be able to fix your problems.
Right.
Okay. Right. So moving on, the admin would also be able to help you maintain and import clean data. So it's very important in your system that your data is correct. Right?
Yes.
Garbage in, garbage out.
Right.
So if you don't have the right data, then your system is not going to be maximized to its fullest. The admin courses will teach you how to import, export, update, and delete records correctly.
Okay.
Yes, and at the same time, what we set up usually is that the admin would have the rights for deleting records. They won't give that rights for other users. Right. So, and then there's protocols when the admin will be deleting and when he shouldn't be deleting as well. Right. To keep your data clean at all times. Yes. Okay. Next is to create high-value reports and dashboards. So my experience with Salesforce, and I've been using Salesforce for quite some time, even before my time here at IPC as a user, a a very powerful feature of Salesforce is to have the reports and dashboards. Right. And we all know that this is in real time. Right? I use my reports and dashboards to manage my team on a day-to-day basis. I can use it to understand, let's say, the pipeline funnel. Right? In Salesforce, they have lots of nice graphs that you can use. One of my favorites is that pipeline, which will allow me to see how much forecast I would have in any particular stage of the sales cycle. So let's say qualified leads, or presented proposal, negotiation, acceptance, etc., etc. Right. So the admin would be able to help your organization set up your reports and dashboards for your user-specific needs. So in my case, as I mentioned, I use it to help me up on an operational day-to-day basis.
Right. So if the sales agent or the account manager view, then the pipeline is for that person only if that's how they want it set up. But if they want it for the whole company, for the whole group, for example, through the training, you can teach them those types of configurations, right?
Yes, actually you're touching upon what I want to discuss next, which is basically I use two dashboards. I primarily use two dashboards, right? So the first one is operational dashboard that I use to manage my team. Right. The second one is a dashboard which I use to present to executive leadership. Right? Okay. So it takes a lot of the items from my operational dashboard, but I have different views and some different charts that I use for executive leadership, right? And what's good is inside the way that we do the dashboards, right? It also sets the standards, right, for definitions of not just terms but also charts. Right? So when I go to executive leadership meeting and I flash, let's say, my run chart, right, and the lines that are associated to that run chart, so they know exactly what I'm talking about. Right. So for example, one good example there is that in Salesforce, you can declare your closed deals and your deals that are in a commit stage. So the difference is closed deals means that you already have a signature. Right. So they're closed within the month or within the time frame. Right. My commit deals, they're I would like to think near closure. Right. I'm just waiting for a signature, but it's sure.
There's a high level of confidence on there.
High level of confidence, that is correct, right? So with that being said, in the executive leadership meeting that I have, if I flash that chart, which was developed by our admin, right, they know exactly what I'm talking about. Right? And it just makes the conversation with executive leadership more fruitful because instead of trying to decide what is the data that you're trying to present, you already know what it is, and thus the conversation now becomes, how can I help you progress with your deals, right, or how can I help you with your initiatives in terms of selling?
So it's more like data visualization, so to speak.
Yes, yes, and you know the bosses, they just like charts.
They don't want to see the fine print.
Yes, they don't want to see the fine print, they just want to see the charts. And the admin course will definitely help the trainees in terms of creating these high-value reports and dashboards that will help you in your organization. The next part that you will learn in this course is to set up workflow automation. So there are some functionalities inside Salesforce that you can set up. Actually, my mistake. Many functionalities that you can set up and make them automated. Right? So it does away with some manual processes. And of course, in an organization, when you have a strategy, you can actually prioritize what type of workflows you want to automate. Right. So a clear example of this is, let's say, if your organization can define triggers of when an action needs to take place. Right? So, for example, at a certain stage or a certain email or a certain scenario, right, Salesforce can now be set up for you to have a reminder, right, to say, after X amount of days or a certain time lapse, you're supposed to do this next action, which could be set up a meeting, follow a call, just a simple reminder, and those can be automated within the platform.
Does this take up majority of the training or workflow automation?
No, it's a short portion of the training. I think if there's anything that would be heavy in the training,
Right.
would be the reports and the dashboards.
Okay.
Yes, because
The meat of the pie.
that is that is the meat of the pie, right? That is really where we see the benefits of Salesforce. As I told you earlier, I use it operationally,
Mhm.
right? And I use it on a high level management, right? So that is the meat of the pie, so to speak.
And I think what's good about Salesforce University is that there's many ways to skin an animal, so to speak. So the admin training is very critical because you can make it personal, you can make it highly configured to the exact needs of your company, for example.
That is correct. And to that point, and that's why I would want to focus on the IPC Salesforce training offerings. As I mentioned, it is in the facilities that we have here.
Right.
Chase is very hands-on. The training is from 9 to 5, that's a standard. But he has been known to stay on board when necessary and answer all of your questions and be very, very helpful and hands-on.
So it's gonna be worth their time.
It is going to be definitely worth their time. Oh, and I forgot to mention that inclusive of the training is your breakfast, your lunch, and your afternoon snacks.
So everything's covered. All you need to do is bring yourselves here in the office.
Yes,
The
just show
training
up.
room to show up. Are the materials included as well?
Yes, the materials are included. Plus, we will be setting up your own demo org for you to play around with.
So it's an actual.
So do the attendees have to bring their own laptops?
Yes.
It is, yes, it is advisable that they bring their own.
Okay, good to know.
Yes.
And we'll be providing Mika, right? Internet connectivity.
Of course.
Yes.
IPC is actually in the business of connectivity as well. So you can be assured of the fastest connectivity, as much bandwidth as you need, just to make sure that the training and the materials and the setup's very fast.
Excellent plug-in, Ace. Right. Okay, so probably we'll move forward from ADM to one.
Okay.
Sorry. Can we guess?
Yes.
Okay. So as mentioned, the other item that other class that IPC offers is for developers. Okay. So it's called Developers 401. So let me stay on this screen for a while because I think I need to make some definitions. Okay. So Force.com, right? Let us not mistake it for Salesforce.com. Salesforce.com is actually the CRM, right? And Force.com is the platform as a service. It is designed to simplify the development and deployment of your cloud-based apps and websites. So again, if I say Salesforce.com, that's usually referred to as a CRM, right? And Force.com is referred to as the platform. The next thing I need to define before we move forward is Visual Force. Okay. So Visual Force, it's a framework. It allows you to develop and to build your sophisticated custom user interfaces on Force.com.
Okay.
And these are all hosted natively. Okay. So what will you learn? Okay. And sorry, before I go into what you will learn, you will see if you go through the bullet points on this slide that there are some that are similar to ADM.
Okay.
Right. So this would be your customized user interface, workflows and whatnot.
Right.
The difference is in ADM you configure. So that means that these are already available inside the platform, and you just have to configure the platform to conform to what you're looking for. When I'm talking about dev, that means you would customize objects on top of the platform.
Okay.
Right? So that would touch upon your customized user interfaces. Right? So you would put objects that are not available in the platform.
Right.
When you're going through the dev module. Similar to workflows, you can create workflows in the ADM side, right? But as a dev, you would be able to do other types of automations that are not available on the platform. Okay. Yes. Okay. The dev is pretty much straightforward. It's very technical, so to speak.
Complex and
Yes, complex. So when you flash the screen to a dev, they pretty much know what I'm talking about. So for example, the first part, build and customize multi-user cloud applications with just clicks. When I read it as a layman, I don't know what am I talking about. But a dev would know that what I'm doing here is that it's basically will help you with your declarative actions.
Okay.
So
it's
click and
putting
drag.
putting some programming code to the actual processes that's happening in the company, right?
Yes, that is correct. That's correct. So this course is recommended, obviously, for people that have a dev background. And well, on top of the platform, you can develop in certain languages that you're more accustomed to.
Right.
So one example is JavaScript, another is CSS, which I will go to my last point on this slide. Modify the user interface with Visual Force pages, right? So I mentioned you can integrate other programming languages with Salesforce.
Right.
But here, aside from teaching you how to use Visual Force, it also teaches you how to use Apex. Okay. So Apex, it's your object-oriented programming language. It allows the devs to execute flow and transaction control statements in Force.com. This is typically what you need if you're going to be running APIs.
So you'll touch up also on the language that they will be using, so they can actually give them a benefit of both worlds on the programming side, on the application side as well.
That is correct. That is correct. Okay, so in terms of course offerings, admin and dev, that's what we have in a nutshell. Right. And I am excited because we do have a short section that we'll be going to do, run by Chase Absuna. Just to give you a background of Chase, he is our Salesforce trainer. He is certified to train on ADM and also in dev. Actually, we also offer not just classroom training here. Every once in a while, Salesforce will directly contract Chase so that he can run trainings, and he's been doing it outside of the country. So he's run trainings in Vietnam, he's done trainings in South Korea, and I think in the next few weeks he'll be doing some trainings around in Singapore.
It's good. And as you mentioned, we're only 2 in Asia Pacific.
Yes, we're only 2 certified Salesforce University partners in Asia Pacific. Of course, Salesforce has its own resources.
Correct. And then through IPC, we deliver not just the solutions, but also to help you develop your own and make it your own flavor. And thanks for actually adding this as part of our solutions portfolio for Salesforce.
Yes, that is correct. That is correct. Thank you very much, Ace, and I'll give it over to Chase.
Right. Thank you, Sir Brian. Hey everyone, my name is Chase, and I'm the Salesforce trainer for IPC. Today I'm going to talk about the basics of Salesforce Analytics. So with Salesforce Analytics, you have 2 major features. We have the reports and the dashboards. In this session, I'm going to talk about the 3 major and most used formats for reports and how to build them into dashboards. All right, let's begin. So I'll start with the tabular report. A tabular report is the simplest way for you to aggregate your data, right? So with tabular reports, you have Salesforce fields shown as columns and individual records or line items in your Salesforce as rows. This is the simplest, easy to absorb method of presenting your data, right? This is perfect for mailing lists, right? Or a good summary of all the deals you have in the organization, all the contacts you have along with their contact information. And take note that reports are also redistributable, right? Can be saved for later use and can also be extracted into a backup. All right. Next, I'm going to talk about the summary report. All right. The summary report is very similar to tabular reports. The only difference is that you can use certain fields or certain criteria, right, to become groupings. Right. So you can sort your data based on the values that you have on a particular field. Examples of this would be sorting them per record owner, right? So who's the person in charge for the particular deal, right? When the deal is going to close, or what stage is the deal in the opportunity pipeline, right? Next example I'm going to show you, the third one, is the matrix format. In the matrix format, this is very similar to a pivot table in Excel, right? If everyone's familiar. You have the ability to create groupings both horizontally and vertically. This is perfect for giving your organization a good overview of your deals that are about to close at a particular month, particular week, right? Who owns them, and what kind of products are being sold in those particular opportunities. All right. Next, I'm going to show you how to make use of visual summaries in reports. With visual summaries, you have two main options. First is the report charts, right? So with report charts, you can have a summary of the entire report shown in a visual graphical presentation, either at the top or at the bottom of the report. The second option you have for visual summaries is conditional highlighting. As you can see here in the report that I'm showing, I have a grand summary section or column at the end of the report, and I can use traffic light colors to indicate if a certain group of records are meeting or exceeding the required targets. Right? To use filters, and filters can be as sophisticated as having multiple different criteria, but you can link them or streamline them by using the and, or, and not functions. In this example, I'm showing 4 filters and a condition for specifying which filters are always supposed to be marked as true and which ones are conditional. Ultimately, when you create reports, you are going to build them as dashboards. In some situations, reports can be functional as is, but in most cases, you have to build them into a single dashboard for easier access. Of course, it makes sense to just put them in one page rather than just maintaining 10 different reports and viewing them, presenting them in every group meeting. In this example that I'm showing in my screen right now, I have a dashboard showing report data for sales, marketing, and support categories. Right? As you can see here, they are just visual summaries, all right, or similar to report charts, all right, but you can have up to 20 of these in a single page. Now, what's interesting about dashboards is that you can actually drill down to the source report by just simply clicking on the component that you see on the screen, right? Okay, as easy as that. Now, I know what you're thinking. With such powerful capability of seeing your organization's entire data or data pool, if you may, right? How does one control security and data access for such powerful features? Now, with regards to dashboards, you can actually specify it to become dynamic, meaning anyone who's viewing it will see the data as themselves, or you can have it with a running user. With that, what I mean by that is that the dashboard, the data will always be presented as if they were logged in as a particular user. All right. In this example, as you can see here on the right side of my screen, it says that the user is viewing the report as myself. Now, if I redistribute this particular dashboard, right, that end user, no matter what the user's position in the company is, all right, will see the data as me. But if you can see here, the dashboard will not show you specifics. It will just give you grand summaries, right? So when the user views the dashboard as me, right, and clicks on one component, say, for example, this particular component, right, and drills down to the specific report or source report where the data is coming from, the user will now be back to his or her default access to records, right? Because by default, reports will only show you, right, the records that you have access to. Right? So with that basic capability, you can control access to your organization's data depending on who's viewing the reports and dashboards. Now you know the basics of Salesforce Analytics. Knowledge is an investment. If you'd like to learn more, feel free to contact us at 848-8700 or visit our website at www.ipc.ph or email us at salesteam@ipc.ph. Again, this is Chase. Thanks for attending.
All right. Thanks, Chase, for that very informative run through of a little bit of information regarding Salesforce University. So now let's look at the questions from our viewers. There's a question here on, is Salesforce University IPC's only offering?
No, actually, I don't think I was able to mention it earlier, but Salesforce University plays a large part of our service offering. But aside from that, we are resellers, partner resellers of Salesforce for the Service Cloud and Sales Cloud. Yes.
Okay.
And on top of that, we also have a fairly large, around 30 plus team for professional services. Yes. So they're there to help you implement.
Okay.
They can also do your customizations and integrations into different systems. Yes.
Okay.
All right. I think for our next question, this is a good question, I think.
Okay.
How much are your training sessions?
Okay, the training sessions. So, training sessions that I flashed earlier as training schedules, they run for 5 days. We do it usually Monday to Friday.
5 full days.
5 full days, Monday to Friday. It's actually 9 to 5, but as I mentioned, Chase does extend. And it is $2,000 per trainee. And I think I mentioned also, it includes breakfast, lunch, and then an afternoon snack.
And all the other relative equipment that you need, say projector and internet and power for their laptops and computing equipment.
Yes, that is correct.
Another question is, can exports be exported?
Oh, can reports be exported? Yes. In Salesforce, even if I use dashboards and reports on the platform itself, on the solution itself, I usually export also my data to Excel using a CSV or XLS file. Sometimes because you still do have to do a little tweaking.
And speaking of reports, there's another follow-up question, I think. Is it possible to have discussions in reports?
Yes. So the discussions, I think the question is targeted towards inside Salesforce. There's this feature called Chatter, right? So within,
which we use actually.
We use Chatter. Yes. So and you usually see Chatter on your pages of, let's say, an account or a lead, right? So they'll have that sign and say, Brian, this is what's happening in the lead, etc., etc. That feature is also available on your reports and also available on your dashboards. Yes.
And I think another question that we received was, what editions are available?
What editions are available? So I guess that ties into, let's say, the Sales Cloud and Service Cloud. The training that you will get will be good for all the types of editions within Sales Cloud, Service Cloud. So there's Professional Edition, there's Enterprise Edition, and there's also Unlimited Edition. So the training is good for all of them.
Okay, I see. There's a good question here. Are there any prerequisites for training?
Well, on the Salesforce.com site, when you find your specific training, let's say for ADM or for Dev, so you just go to Services and then Training. When you click on there are specific suggested prerequisites that you take before you go into either Dev, ADM, or the other class offerings that Salesforce.com has had. But most of the resources and material are already available by Salesforce, especially using Trailhead, which is one of the resources. It's a library of information, a vast library of information that you have with regards to all of the modules inside Salesforce. So that's good to do. So before you go into training, it really helps not just yourself but also the trainer to have a more fruitful discussion inside the training.
Okay, I think those are the questions that we have for now. Do you have any final messages to the viewers who are tuning in?
Yeah, sure. So, well, thanks, Ace. Thanks, Mika. I'm very happy that we were able to discuss around Salesforce University here in IPC. It's only been probably less than a year that we've been partnered with Salesforce and Salesforce University, and we've seen a lot of success stories with customers that we've been able to train.
Mhm.
And when we started our public classroom training, actually, to be honest, we only had one trainee, right? But now it's growing on a monthly basis, and I hope to see you and other customers as well, other trainees as well, here in our training facilities. And Chase is an excellent trainer, and we'll get to meet each other and help you maximize the benefits of your Salesforce investment in your organization.
All right, folks, this is all the time that we have for now. For other questions or if you'd like to implement Salesforce in your company, please email salesteam@ipc.ph.
Awesome.
Let me thank again our guests, Brian Dizon and Chase Obsuna, and of course, the ever-dashing Nika here.
Yes.
And we'll see you again in the next ThinkoutCloud Webcast.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.